This is a foldable for section 8.6 and 8.7. We're gonna fold it in three, a trifold. So 3 equal parts, approximately this way. Once you have it folded that way, we're gonna fold it in half to make 6 equal parts. I'm going to start writing this way, and what I want to remind you is multiplying first. Multiplying binomials look like this, where we had the c plus 5 and the c plus 2. And what we did was make a box. And I put the c plus 5 here and the c plus 2 here. That would make c squared, because c times c is c squared. This is 2c. This would be 5c. And then 5 times 2 is 10. When we add these two together, they're giving me 7c. That means that my final answer is a c squared plus 7c plus 10, because they were positive. I'm supposed to show you special cases. One of the first special cases is when we have 2x plus 3 and it's squared. What does that mean? That means that there's 2 of the 2x plus 3's. Now we can set it up in a box like we've been doing. So I'm going to make a box. 2x plus 3 on the side, 2x plus 3 at the top. 2x times 2x makes 4x squared. 2 times 2, 4. X times x, x squared. This becomes a 6x. 2 times 3 is 6, and then the x. This is also 6x, and then 3 times 3 makes 9. We're supposed to add these two together because they are like terms. That makes it 12x. Making my final answer 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Okay, the other special case that I want to show you is when we have c plus 5 and c minus 5. We're still going to make a box. I have c plus 5 here and c minus 5 here. C times c is c squared. Negative 5 times c, negative 5c. 5 times c, 5c. And then 5 times a negative 5 is a negative 25. We're going to add these two together. 5 plus a negative 5 is 0c. That means that we don't have to write it, making our final answer c squared minus 25. And those were the special cases. I wanted to remind you of the special cases because what we're going to do in these two sections is factor. Factoring. And this is the notes for both sections 8.6 and 8.7. And we're going to start with a problem that looks like 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. And I want you to notice that that's what our answers used to look like. So we're going in reverse, and our answers need to be in these factors that are in parentheses. So we're still going to make a box. The 2x squared goes here, and the 2 goes here. When I add these two together, it gives me 5x. Let me show you from, the previous sections we've been doing. The squared always went here. The one without the letter went here. We call that a constant. And then when we add these two together, that was the middle term that we always wrote. So we're just still working in reverse. What I would like for you to do is multiply 2x squared times 2. So that's the outside of the oval. That gives you 4x squared. The reason that I want you to do that is because we're looking for factors of 4 that when added together, they give me 5. So what I teach the students is to put it in y equals, and I'm going to be 4 divided by x. So I'm going to have you write it right here so you can remember 4 divided by x, and the y equals. You hit second, and then graph on the calculator. And you got the table of values. -1 and -4 give me a -5. Well, I'm looking for a +5. So if I go down, 1 and 4 give me a +5. So those are my factors. I'm going to go ahead and write 2 and 2 because when I add those two together, they give me 4, making them not my factors. I need 1x plus 4x so it can be added together and give me 5x. I'm going to look for what they have in common. The greatest thing in common is a 2x. They both can be divided by 2. They both have an x. That means this one has to be an x because x times x makes x squared. And then 2. And then here had to be a 2 because 2 times 2 makes 4. And then I still have an x. I have 1. 1 times x makes 1x. Meaning that my factors are 2x plus 1. And how did I get 2x plus 1? 2x and a +1 and an x plus 2. Don't forget that you can always rewind, fast forward, make sure that you see these examples plenty of times to know what is the steps that I'm doing. So let's do another one. We have 3c squared minus 7c plus 2. So we want factors. That means we're going to have to make a box. And I have the 3c squared here because they're the squares. The 2 here. And when I add these two together, I need a -7c. Then I asked you to multiply them together. 3c squared times 2, which gives you a 6c squared. The reason that we do this is because this is what goes in the calculator in the y equals. So we're going to go to the y equals. This time we're putting 6 divided by x. Once you have that on there, we hit second graph to go to the table. And again, we're looking for added together to give me 7. It is -1c plus a -6c that equals -7. If you're not good at checking that, we can go to second quit and see for ourselves. -1 plus -6 is -7. So you can always check it what's on the table. Let me go back to the table though. I want you to know why this one is the correct answer, so I have to show you incorrect answers. 1 and 6 are going to give, when I add those two together, are going to give me 7, a +7. That's why it's not the answer. 2 and 3, when you add those two together, they give you a +5. That's why it's not the answer. Once you find the two factors that we're missing for our box, we have to find the thing that they have in common. These are both multiples of 3. So they have a 3 and a c in common because they both have a c. That means this is c because c times c makes c squared, then the 3. And this has to be a -2 because -2 times 3 makes -6. And that means this has to be a -1 because -1 times c makes a -1c. -2 times a -1 make a +2. And so our square is completed correctly, making the two factors 3c minus 1 and c minus 2. This takes a lot of practice to get well at, so please don't be discouraged.